Hello everyone, this is Mr. Ahmed Al Qadri, and today we will start a new lesson we want to talk today about heat. First, have you ever taken a sip of chocolate and burned your tongue? So, energy is the hot drink flows into your tissues and damage them. So, the energy that causes such a burn is heat. Heat is the thermal energy that flows between objects due to a difference in temperature. Because we know that thermal energy is measured in joules, so the heat is measured in joules too. So your tongue is cooler than the drink, so heat flows from the drinks into your tongue. Let's do a small experiment together to explain what the meaning of heat. Okay, guys, let's do this small experiment. We need a heater and we take a brick as example. So if we add heat to the brick, so you can see how the flowing of thermal energy. This symbol represent, as you see here, energy. This symbol is energy symbol, the thermal energy. So if we add heat, there is thermal energy adding to this brick. So this is an example of heat. We heat the brick. That means we add more kinetic thermal energy. Okay, right now we will put the bricks inside an olive oil and see. Let's see what will happen. You can see the transfer of energy from the brick to the olive oil, and it's go up. You can see this one here. So right now, this is what we mean by heat. So heat is the thermal energy that flows between objects due to a difference in temperature. So this is an example of transfer of thermal energy. So here right now, because the bricks has more heat than the olive oil, so the thermal energy transfer from the brick to the olive oil and through to the air. So during time it will become at equilibrium. So heat move from uh, an object with high temperature to an object with lower temperature. So what the meaning of temperature right now? Okay, guys, temperature is a measurement of the average kinetic energy of particles in an object. All the particles in an object are vibrating with kinetic energy. So objects with a higher temperature have a particles that are vibrating faster. An object with lower temperature have particles that do not vibrate as much. So let's do an experiment to explain what is temperature. Okay, guys, for this experiment again, we need heat, and we take water as an example. So, and this is the particles of water inside the water, and the temperature right now it's negative 266 degrees Celsius. So we know that water, each molecule of water has two atoms of hydrogen and one atoms of oxygen. You can see right now it's this water, these particles in a solid state like an ice, it's not vibrating that much. So if we add heat to the water, you can see the temperature it starts as 100 right now, close to 100 the temperature, and you can see the particles how they are start vibrate. Okay, and some of them you can see the vibrating of particles, and we know that what is the meaning of kinetic energy. Kinetic energy, it's energy of motion. So if I have motion, that means I have kinetic energy. So this is an example, a really example of what the meaning of temperature. Imagine if we cool take away the heat from these particles, you can see to the up to the temperature right now. Sorry, you can see here the temperature is going decreases. So you can see the particles right now are rearranged and not vibrated. So right now it's not moving, the particles is not made moving, so the kinetic energy equal to zero, because the kinetic energy is energy of motion. So if I don't have any motion of particles, so the kinetic energy it will decrease. So the average kinetic energy right now, if we heat it again, you can see the particles start vibrating and has more kinetic energy, and that means the temperature is will raise up. I have right now increasing in temperature, so you can see the particles inside the waters how it vibrates. As you see in real life, you can see how's the if we add heat to the water in your real life, how's the particles are moving faster and faster and faster and become water. This is represent the molecule of water, one oxygen and two atoms of hydrogen. And when we add heat to the water, so the particles move faster and faster and faster, and water uh, now right now it's water vapor. And as you see right now, this is an example of a solid state of water like an ice. Okay guys, these two blocks here have different temperatures. As they are pushed together, heat will flow from the hot block to the cooler block. So when the two blocks reach the same temperature, heat will stop flowing. Okay guys, when two things rub together, they can get warm. So this is because the friction between objects change kinetic energy into thermal energy. So how does this happen? When particles in the objects bump into one another as they are rubbed together. As example, if you rub your hand quickly when you are cold, then your hands get warmer. This is an example of how the kinetic energy change of into thermal energy in your hand. So each bump causes the particles to vibrate a little more, and the temperature of the object rise. So temperature is measured with a thermometer. When a thermometer touches a material, heat will flow either into or out the of the thermometers. So when the thermometers and the materials are at the same temperature, heat will stop flowing. So the thermometer gives the temperature of the materials in unit of degrees Celsius or degrees Fahrenheit. As example, You can see if we want to take this water, and we take a thermometer. This is a thermometer here, right here. So if we put the thermometer here and we heat the water, so you can see the temperature, the temperature in the thermometer increases. So this is an example of, you can see here, and the water start change state to water vapor. This is an example of thermometers. Okay, guys, many thermometers work by measuring the way liquid expand or contract with the thermometer. Like example, he is expanding. This is a liquid, the red one. It's expand, and if we take away the heat from the water, it will, you can see, contract again. You can see the liquid is contract. So this is an example of how thermometers work. Okay, guys, so when we discussing heat and temperature, keep in mind though that temperature and heat are not the same thing. So we study temperature measures the average kinetic energy of particles, and heat is the total amount of thermal energy of an object releases. So a small boil of steaming soup has a higher temperature than a cool lake. However, the lake could release more heat because it has many more particles, as you see in this picture above. Because the soap has higher temperature, but the lake's greater mass release more heat than the soup.